What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. He is a real estate investor, has flipped over 240 properties in a year. He is the owner of MartelTurnkey and has plus 11 other businesses in his portfolio, and he's a #1 international best-selling author. Please help us welcome the one and only Antoine Martel. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. It's a pleasure. How you been?
Good. Been good. It was a good holiday. Now I'm excited to be back, and this is our first week back as a company, so I'm excited to be back and get 2022 going.
That's right. 2022, excited to be back with your team. What are those goals for this year, man? Or do you set goals, and if so, what are those goals for 2022?
Yeah, so we set goals every year. Our actual annual meeting is next week, so we give everybody kind of like a week to kind of catch up on the holiday stuff, and then we have our like annual meeting, and there we do like a bunch of goal setting. We beat our goal last year, and now we're like increasing our goal by like 50% this year. So yeah, we keep like pushing people to go more and more, even though we're 5 years in, we're still like 50% increase every year is what we're going for.
So mentally, how do you shift that mindset? When you're like, okay, we hit our goal for last year. Now it's time we increased our goal, where this is our new goal. You need another level of mindset. How do you work that with your team?
I think obviously money helps people and motivates people. So last year when people got we do like quarterly meetings where we get give bonuses if we meet our goal, and our team hit all 4 bonuses for last year. So they got paid, really well every single quarter. They got a big check. So that was nice for them. And I think it gets easier with time with our business. It's really, really hard to get started in the real estate business. But once you're doing, 200-300 houses a year, and you have 500 houses under your belt that you've successfully flipped without ever losing money one time, it helps things, go faster, right? And also, as you have we have a team of 9 people right now, but to flip 600-700 houses a year, I don't really need to have double the amount of team. There's kind of this compounding growth that goes with it. And there were some big changes last year. We got a huge line of credit, $20 million credit facility. So, I never have to go raise money from the streets again and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of changes that are going to help that growth kind of exponentially take off, where, none of my team members now have to deal with raising private money or anything like that. We have this line of credit, and it just gets easier and easier to keep on scaling up the way that we have been. And I think people are excited to be part of that growth, and they're getting compensated along the way. So they continue to, push themselves and keep going.
Oh, that's amazing. So for our audience who really don't know who you are, can you share a little bit of your business and how you started and where you guys are projected to go?
Sure. So I was born in Toronto, grew up in San Francisco, moved to LA 6-7 years ago. Wow. For college, graduated 2017. About a year before graduating from college, I decided I didn't want to go and work for somebody else after graduating from college. I wanted to have my own business, start my own business. My major was actually entrepreneurship. So I could really only get a job at a startup scene or something like that. So it was either get a job at a startup or start my own business. About a year before going and graduating, my brother took me and my dad to a seminar, a real estate seminar, a weekend one. We learned about flipping houses, wholesaling, apartment buildings, and I just became addicted after that. So that the next semester, I moved all my classes from 5 to 10 p.m. so that throughout the day, I could just network my ass off. So I started going on Bigger Pockets, going to networking events, meeting people face to face, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I started to do. Just meeting people, taking them up for coffee, picking their brains. People much older, I don't know, I was 20 years old, taking people out to coffee, I want to flip houses when I graduate from college. People were okay, kid. So they would just tell me all this stuff. I started collecting all these notes. I met with 200 people or something over that year. And I was wow, all right, flipping houses in LA doesn't make sense with me and my family's money, which we had about $40,000 to invest. No way in hell we can do anything in LA. So we started looking out of state, chose a market, found Memphis, Tennessee, bought a first house for $35,000, renovated it for $5,000, and then did a refinance and pulled all that money out. And then I just kept going after that. Graduated May 2017. By December of 2017, we had like about 8 houses as a family.
Wow.
And then after that, our family had run out of money. So I started selling these houses as turnkey rentals. I made a little WordPress website called Martel Family Realty, and started selling these houses in our family's portfolio to make a profit. And then that turned into what we have today, which is MartelTurnkey.com. So today we do the same thing. We buy houses, renovate them, rent them out, put a property manager in place, and then sell them to our clients. And yeah, we're doing 10 to 30 houses a month right now in 6 different markets.
Oh, that's amazing. And we always talk about, me and Anthony all the time, the network is very important, especially within the real estate industry. Is there one person or one connection that you made that really changed your life and propelled your business that you can think of?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So, all right. So I met with those 200 people in LA, right? And then from that, I just learned so much about like what to do and what not to do, and kind of learn. It was like kind of like, you know, they say like reading a bunch of like biographies or autobiographies about like books about like successful entrepreneurs is the best way to like learn how you can do it too, and how they, you know, went through their challenges. So I was like, all right, I can do that, and just like talk to every single investor in LA who's made any money at all. How did you get started? How much money did you have? What did you do? What worked? What didn't work? And I started collecting all those stories. So that was the first piece of it. I would say the most important person was, after that, I started cold calling realtors in Memphis, because I knew that I had to start building a team on the ground. So I found Memphis, Tennessee, and I started cold calling realtors. It took me about 200 phone calls. Then I finally found somebody who was the youngest broker owner in the country, had a construction company, property management company, and he had a bunch of houses that kind of fit that kind of model, to buy them, renovate them, hold them for the long term, but still had some equity. And so that guy was, I mean, the needle in the haystack.
When you say youngest, how old was this guy?
He was, when he started his brokerage, I think he was 20, and he was the youngest broker owner in the country. Yeah, dude. And then when I met him, he was 20. He had been running his brokerage for a couple of years. So I was 21 and he was like 25 or something. And he had been running his brokerage for 4 or 5 years, and he had like 100 agents. And then a couple of years after I met him, he sold his brokerage to Keller Williams, and he had the biggest downstem in Keller Williams. Like, he had the most amount of agents worldwide under him in Keller Williams. Jeez. So that was my needle in the haystack that I found. But dude, that's from cold calling people on Zillow, like, for months straight.
I just want to point something out, especially for everybody out there. You see why you guys can't give up? Like, you never know who that person can be that can change your life, just by saying, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do this exact thing over and over again until I find that person.
Yep. And they're out there too. Like, I'm expanding. So we're in, you know, let's say 5 markets right now. By the end of this year, 2022, I'm going to be in 10 markets. That's what my goal is. What am I doing? Like, how am I expanding? Yeah, sure. I have the, you know, the record or the clout now. I can go to, you know, market and be like, I flipped 500 houses. I'm doing these much a month. Like, I want to do the same with you. But, you know, I have the track record, right? But I mean, somebody can pick up the phone and talk to the exact same people that I'm going to be calling. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going on Zillow. I have my assistant go on Zillow, pull a bunch of property management companies, pull a bunch of realtors. I'm getting on the phone, call, like, still to this day, you know, 5 years in, there's no other way to do it. And I feel like I'm the right person to be calling for the initial phone call to set everything up in the right way. And then after that, my team can take care of the rest. But yeah, it doesn't stop. Even here, last week I called, 30, 40 different property management companies in a couple different markets.
So it's like they say, if it's not broken, why fix it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's brought us here thus far. And I think that if I can do the beginning part and automate or have my team do the rest, it's perfect. Because as long as I can set up the team on the ground in the right fashion, my team can handle the rest, because they know, as long as I set it up in a way that my team understands how to run it, how they have been for the other markets, then we'll be golden. So yeah, I'm just, now all my focus is really on just expanding new markets. What I was doing, from the college dorm room back when I was 19, 20 years old is the same stuff that I'm doing today. I've just automated everything else.
Wow. And do you plan to ever go into Florida, or are you already in Florida?
Not in Florida. Right now we're like Memphis, Cleveland, St. Louis, Detroit, Cincinnati, Akron.
Come visit us in Miami.
Florida, no. I know, man. I actually might be moving there. I'm going to Austin, Texas next month, and then Miami. I'm gonna try to go like late February.
You hit us up.
And I know, man. So I'm looking at both of those markets to move out of California. It'll be closer to my markets, and then also the tax saving, obviously. So, but investment wise, no Florida. It's just been kind of difficult to make the numbers work for what our clients' appetite is to hit the certain returns that we need. And also just super, super competitive. I mean, I can go into a market like Detroit, right? And there's like, thousands and thousands of houses for sale. And, there's almost too much. Like, my biggest constraint there is contractors, not deals. I can find 5-10 houses a month that are deals. So that's the market that I prefer. It just saves me so much time and headache where I go build a team in Tampa or Jacksonville and I do all this work and it's like, well, there's no deals. And now I got to figure out all these creative ways, to find deals and stuff like that. I'd rather just figure out creative ways to, pay contractors double what they're making somewhere else and have them come work for me.
So now that we're in 2022, and the angle that you're hitting the real estate game with the flipping of the properties, what would you say is the biggest thing that you're seeing as a difference from 2021 now going to 2022 with the angle that you hit your business with?
So nothing has really changed for us, luckily. With all the stuff that's happened in the last couple of years, our model is exactly the same since when the company started in 2018. So nothing's really changing for us except just expanding into new markets and kind of just hitting up new markets, because to start up a new market could take like 6 to 12 months to get everything going and everything smooth and ironed out. So it takes a lot of time. So if I want to expand in 5-10 years to be doing 1,000 houses a year, I need to get going on adding these markets now so that they can be full steam ahead in a couple of years to get us to that goal.
Oh, wow. And let me ask you this. So with everything that's going on with, the Omicron, COVID, all these different things, supply chain issues, how's that affecting, I guess, your portfolio, or in any way, what do you foresee in the sense of inflation-wise? Do you think there's going to be a pullback in the market or anything like that?
So, all right. So first one, COVID hasn't really had any effect. The only thing it did really is like contractors got sick, all right, the job is delayed a couple of years. The job's delayed a couple of weeks. Sorry. So a contractor gets sick, or, at the very beginning when they wanted to have like 6 feet apart or like only 1 or 2 guys in the house at any given time, just slow down the rehab projects. Not that big of a deal. People had way worse issues. Supply chain issues, yes, still having those issues, but really for limited things. I mean, appliances and windows and stuff like that, still having backlogs and stuff. Other than that, we're actually pretty good. Your last question, inflation and interest rates, I think you said.
Yes.
So interest rates is going to be interesting, and it really depends on inflation. My goal or my hope is that the two of them are going to like kind of net each other out. So we're going to have the inflation factor pushing up the prices and the interest rate factor pushing down the prices of these houses. That's what my hope is. And my hope is that these houses that we're selling as turnkey rentals are still going to make sense financially for our investors because of the inflation versus the interest rates. And I think there's just going to be a lot of people transitioning out of buying a house because the interest rate is going to go up, and they're not going to want to buy a house because the interest rate's 6 instead of 3 or whatever the case may be. Not like it's going to go down anytime soon. It's just like if they're going to buy a house, they're not going to buy it just because they could have gotten a better deal 3 years ago. They're not going to now go and buy it. Not like it make any logical sense, but that's what my theory is. So yeah, I really don't think that we're going to be affected all that much because we do play in the lower price point, affordable housing across the country in these affordable tertiary markets, that haven't exploded over the last couple of years, like Austin, for example. It is going to be very interesting to see what happens there with the interest rates going up and the property taxes doubling every year. I'm very curious to see what happens for those, high growth markets in the last couple of years. But my business, I really don't think it's gonna. I'm hoping everything just kind of nets out for us.
So Antoine, speaking about the markets, that you go after, what are you seeing right now? I know you mentioned Austin, stuff like that. What are some other markets you see out there that are, you know, up for grabs or very important to get into now, especially let's say you're for a young flipper out there, or somebody wants to get into flipping? What are some of the markets they need to start paying attention to out there in the United States?
I think that, Cleveland's had a huge, massive increase. Memphis, Tennessee is a little bit hard to get in deals right now. Detroit is kind of like the ugly child of America. So nobody wants to really buy there or invest there, but there's a lot of people. That's one factor, but there's also just, I don't know, there's a lot of jobs and stuff moving back into Detroit. There's kind of like this resurgence, and I mean, the houses there that we're doing are renting out in, you know, a few days, for way higher than what we would project. It's really hot market with a ton of inventory, and Detroit needs everybody's help to kind of bring back Detroit to what it once was. And it could be the next like most amazing city, because all the houses that have been torn down is just completely flat land. I mean, people can go and just, it's pretty much, you're able to build these brand new zip codes of brand new inventory built in 2022, 5 minutes outside of downtown, where you can work at, you know, major companies like Quicken Loans and all this kinds of stuff. I don't know. It could be a very, very interesting model interesting market in the long run. But yeah, I mean, my favorites that we're doing the most amount of volume in right now are Detroit, Cleveland, and St. Louis. And then we're obviously looking at a ton of other places like suburbs of Chicago, Indiana. Indianapolis is a little bit too overpriced. Kansas City is a little bit too far gone. But really, like anywhere in the Midwest where you can find massive amounts of inventory below $100,000 is a market that you should be looking at.
So what is the average price out there in those three different ones? And then I guess on top of that question, how are you able to, you know, efficiently and correctly manage, you know, all this, your teams and all this stuff from being where you're at and investing in these other cities?
Sure. So we, on average, sell our houses for anything from $100,000 to around $150,000. That's the sales price. So we'll buy them for, I don't know, 50 to 100,000, renovate them 20, 30, 50,000 bucks, sell them for 100 to 150. That's kind of where our model is and what we do. Your next question was about which part? So how do
you exactly manage from being in California and run those teams efficiently?
That's right. So we are in California, and all of our employees from MartelTurnkey are in California as well. About 10 employees right now. How do we manage stuff out of state? By building really, really good teams on the ground. So property manager, realtor, inspector, project manager, once we get the GCs all lined up. And that's kind of how we have it set up. So we go find property management companies that are looking to scale, find realtors that are young, hungry, willing to work, willing to walk houses all day long and want to make really good money. And we kind of just build up a team and make it a win-win for everybody. So, you know, go to a realtor, property manager, hey, realtor, how would you like to do 10 deals a month? Hey, property manager, how would you like to add 10 houses a month? Or, you know, if they have 100 houses, how would you like 10% growth every single month? I mean, in a year, you'll be doubled what you currently are if you just work with us. So a lot of companies will just, you know, stop working with other clients, work solely with us, or, you know, 80% with us, have some other clients on the side, and we really help them scale up. And so that's how we kind of create this, is going into these new markets, finding these people, again, these needle in the haystack guys, like that youngest broker owner in the country. I'm just trying to find that next person in a new market who's young, hungry, willing to work, and really, really wants to scale alongside us.
That's amazing.
Because, you know, yeah.
So just curious, because, you know, you're running your own team out in California. You got these other teams that you're building out around the country. What do you do as far as like your day to day? How do you meet with these guys? Like, how does that framework work? You know, when it comes to running that operation of your team and now other teams, like what does your day to day look like when it comes to working with these two separate teams?
So for our team, MartelTurnkey, so we have sales, acquisition, and then we kind of have like admin support, right? So acquisitions will work with the acquisition teams on the ground. So with the realtor, and then sometimes the property managers have some input as well. Like, we don't want to manage here, we hate this, or this is what it can rent out for, right? So that's what the acquisition teams do. the sales team on my end will sell the houses on MartelTurnkey.com, and then they'll also work with project managers on the ground. So those are their 2 points of communication. It's really like the project managers, hey, I sold this house to my client. It closes in a month. When our renovation is going to be completed, yada, yada, yada. So that's kind of the communication level. What do I do? I mean, most of my time last year was spent on raising money for the company, raising money to do more deals, managing cash flow, managing the books, hiring, all that kind of stuff, right? It just normal growth stuff. This year, since I have the money part figured out with the line of credit, now a lot of my time this year is going to be on growth and adding new markets, flying around the country with me and my acquisition manager, and really finding new markets where we can go and scale up the business. So that's what most of my day-to-day stuff, my day-to-day or week-to-week stuff is going to be about, is really around, for this year, it's really focused on adding new markets.
So let's say an investor wants to invest in your syndication, your firm, whatever you have with the turnkey, and they're new to this concept. What is, I guess, like a safe margin or a conservative margin of return that they can look at getting?
Sure. So our houses on our website sell for 10% return on their money. So let's say, you buy a house for $100,000, you put $20,000 down, 20%, couple $1,000 in closing costs. So it'll be all in for like $23,000. And then for that property, they're going to make around $200 a month in positive cash flow. So it comes out to around a 10% return on their money. So that's kind of the average of what people are anticipating when they come and buy houses from us.
Oh, that's amazing. Do they need to be an accredited investor to work with you guys, or no?
No. So pretty much we'll go buy the house, right? Renovate it, rent it out, put a property manager in place, and then sell it to our client, right? Our client's going to buy the house from us. We'll sign a purchase and sale agreement, and then we'll help them get financing, insurance, and connect them with the local property manager. So no accreditation needed. All they need is credit score over 640 and $30,000 or more in the bank, and they can buy a house or work with us.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I know a lot of our viewers here would be definitely interested in learning about this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, I'm telling you right now, with the information you're sharing here, and this is going to go into my next question was, what would you say the 3 biggest keys that you would say for anybody who wants to get into this business that you're doing to be able to get the needle moving and build something strong over time?
For a turnkey business or just like growing a rental property portfolio?
I would say for your turnkey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The three things you need to figure out is, first of all, the money. So how are you going to fund all these deals, which is probably the biggest challenge and biggest headache when I first started, because a lot of lenders don't want to touch stuff below $100,000 purchase prices, right? Some conventional lenders don't even want to finance houses below $100,000, right? Mm-hmm. So you got a needle in the haystack first to figure out how the hell am I going to get the money to purchase and rehab it? And then how the hell am I going to get the money to sell it to my clients, right? So that's the first problem. Second problem is going to be which market, and then building the team on the ground. So, which market do you want to invest in, which market suits your budget. And then, you also have to do all the marketing material to kind of sell, which I guess is the third problem. So first problem, money. Second problem, which market and why. And then also choosing properties and neighborhoods within that market, doing all that research. The third thing, and probably the most difficult one, is convincing people to come and buy houses from you and buy your product versus all the other turnkey companies out there, and also convince them on why this market. Like a lot of our clients live in California or New York or Florida, and they want to invest in real estate out of state, but they've been hearing about Austin, Texas, or like Miami, right? Like a lot of Californians have heard like they want to invest in South Florida or just Florida in general. And until they go look at the numbers and compare that with, the Midwestern states. So that's the third thing, is kind of like convincing those people that are surrounding you. So just marketing in general to sell those properties and sell that product that you now have to sell.
So how do you go about that? And especially in that third, piece of it that you said, being able to convince or make somebody realize, this one's better. How do you go about that? And what are some of the things that you usually, share or tell your potential client when it comes to investing? into you?
I guess it all started because the way that our business model works is that if we don't sell a house, then we can just refinance it and hold it in our own portfolio. And then I think also social media has a big impact, like my Instagram and YouTube channel and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. Like people can go on there like and just scroll for days and just be like, okay, this guy is legit. This guy is legit.
People don't realize the power.
Realize that, yeah.
Yeah, like they can just go and see like this guy's a real person and like everything he says is like accurate no matter where he says it, and like he doesn't show his Lamborghini and all of his damn videos and bullshit like that. So I don't know. I think they see that I'm coming from a really humble place, and then also like my story that I shared with you guys in the beginning too. Like I started this just like as a small rental property portfolio for my family. I didn't know it was going to turn into this. You know, now it's a full-on family business. My dad quit his full-time job in 2018. Wow. So about a year after graduating. My mom quit her job in 2020, beginning of 2020. My brother quit his job in 2019. So like it's a full-on family business. And
you're holding the team down, man.
I'm trying.
Put the team on his back.
So, for real.
Yeah. And then all my friends that's just the beginning. And then I hired all my friends from college. I mean, two of my best friends from college that I played soccer with, hired both of them, hired one of their girlfriends, hired my other best friend's girlfriend. I mean, yeah, it's everybody around me that's kind of been with me for a long time. I've brought them on the team.
Man, I love that. We're talking about right now how Tom Brady was hooking up Gronk in catching a few extra catches
just to hit his million.
Yeah. So right now you're Tom, man. You're Tom Brady.
You're Tom Brady, bro.
I'm trying. And I actually went to the same high school as Tom Brady, so it makes sense.
Way.
Oh, that's crazy.
What high school's that?
Yeah. Junipero Serra High School. It's an all-boys private school in like San Mateo, which is just south of San Francisco.
And so Brady throwing the touchdowns and you're throwing the real estate investment. Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
That high school, man. That high school's producing legends, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Barry Bonds went there. Lynn Swan went there. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's amazing, man. And you know what else is amazing? That you're able to manage your business and have a social media presence, which I talk with everybody about how important it is, especially in real estate, how you have to build a personal brand to stand out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you had to even get into this and start doing it? Because most people never do it.
Yeah.
So I've been building businesses since I was probably like 7 years old, man. So like this realist turnkey business is like business number 50 for me. So, building a website for Martel Family Realty, that shitty little WordPress thing I built was like, the easiest. I did it in an hour and a half. Like, for some people it would be like, what do I do? Where do I go? For me, I'm like, I used to do this every weekend growing up as a kid, right? So I'd be the kid selling candy at middle school and getting, suspended because I was like selling soda and stuff to all the kids, right? So that was me. So I don't know. I think I just realized that I wanted everybody around me to know like what I was up to. And like, all right, the downside was I get made fun of for like putting my face on all these videos, and the upside is that like once all these kids that I know that I grew up with in middle school, high school, college, once they all graduate and go work at their 9-to-5s, they're going to want to invest that money or do something with it. And I can be that guy, and I might as well get started now. And the social media stuff I was putting out was really just like document. I mean, you can go and scroll down, but it was really just like me documenting like what I was doing or little things that I was learning. It wasn't like I wasn't like trying to be fake or anything. It was literally just me like, all right, today I did this, I cold called this, and like, isn't it crazy how realtors are so dumb and like stuff like that, right? Just like, but documenting that whole process, just like, okay, Antoine is the real estate guy, Antoine's the real estate guy. Oh, and then they can see that evolution kind of happen. And so I don't know. I don't know why I did it. I just kind of knew that it was a necessity. And I also followed some other big guys too, like Gary Vee, who kept saying, you need to document your success and stuff, and or document your process. And so that's just what I started doing and kind of ran with it. And, that went from 1,000 followers to 100,000 followers now. And it's just the beginning. This year, we hired a full-time YouTube person. So we're going to be going full-time on YouTube with new videos every single week, kind of like Graham Stephan style, but more real estate related content
Graham
with
Stephan,
more
man.
experience than Graham Stephan. So yeah,
That's
our
super
first
cool.
shoot's this Saturday actually, and then we'll be posting video every single week, kind of with that same kind of style.
You got to put on your bio now the Tom Brady of real estate. That's it.
True.
That's done.
That's a good one.
No, that's amazing. And let me ask you a question out of curiosity, because you're in California. Has there been a big exodus of people leaving California and going to other places?
Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it.
Really?
Las Vegas being one of them, right? Nevada being one of them?
Oh yeah, Las Vegas. If you're really rich on YouTube, you go to Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Or like any social media. So I would say Austin, Texas. So I've had kids. I went to middle school, high school, and college here. A lot of those kids I grew up with, either one, live at their parents' house, or two, they moved out, but they're like, hardly getting by. Three, they moved out of state because their job went remote. And so they went to Vegas, like you said. I have some kids that went to Nashville, some guys that a lot of people went to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kids that I grew up with that just like got virtual work or wanted to run their own business. And they're like, all right, I got 10 grand. At least I can move to Austin. And, it's $800 or $500 a month in rent.
It's getting expensive over there though.
Yeah. It's getting tough there. And then Florida too, like a ton of people in Miami that went to South Florida. But yeah, it's getting, I was looking at Miami and I'm looking at Miami and Austin right now. And it's getting up there. It's getting expensive.
Have property values
so
been
I don't
going
know
down? In California, how the property prices? Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to happen, but still there still is that mass exodus of people. And I think this is just the beginning. Once you saw all those companies move their HQs to Austin and some of them to South Florida, Miami as well. I think it's just the beginning, because now people are starting to realize, okay, if Elon Musk wants to move there, maybe I should think about, if he's good enough to
no
move
state
there, maybe I
tax,
should.
no state taxes.
Yeah.
So you don't think there's
exactly.
you don't think there's ever gonna be some kind of reset, people, a big flush of people coming back, or you think it's gonna be more, you might get a few, but a lot of people are gonna actually stay in these new places?
Yeah, I think people are going to stay. I don't think that they're going to go to Texas and then come back to California, because now once you go down, it's going to be very, very difficult to come back up. And if they do, then it's because they're making a ton of money. And if they're making a ton of money, there's no way in hell that they're going to go from 0 state tax to 13.3%, which is going to be going up to 15% pretty soon. So it's only going to get worse. Yeah.
Well, I know one of the things Bryan was telling me, we were talking about the other day, was about, now the issue being that, you were saying people coming in, like the New Yorkers, stuff like that, buying up all these places, and then they're actually moving. Some of them are moving back. Yeah. And then we're having that issue now here in Miami. And getting these properties and, obviously pushing the current residents out. And then a lot of these properties stay up empty or, obviously being used for Airbnb and stuff.
My biggest fear is inflation keeps going up and interest rates keep going up as well. And then that's going to create a huge disparity here. A lot of people are going to go crazy.
It's going to be crazy, because I think it's going to make a lot of renters, like a lot of people are just going to want to rent. Like, it's going to be really, really hard to buy a house to live in for people in our age group in the next, 5-10 years. If this happens, what we think is going to happen with the interest rates going up, it's going to be kids our age or people our age are just never going to, they're going to be like, why would I buy a house? It just doesn't make any sense. I'd rather just rent.
What is it? Bryan says what is the new American dream you always say? You always say it all the time.
The new American dream, instead of owning a white picket fence and having a family, you want to be an investor. Everyone wants to be an investor.
Yeah.
Now. That's the new American dream.
Yeah, true. And I think we're, again, just seeing the beginnings of people moving out of New York, people moving out of LA, San Francisco, and moving to these Midwestern states. Yeah. Austin, Texas, and Miami were just the beginning. And they were the easy ones to move to because they had the infrastructure and they had something to offer. Now I think we're going to start to see people moving to cities just because of strictly financial reasons. Moving to Memphis, moving to, Cleveland to Detroit, and just because it's the only place that they can afford in the country. Or even just thinking about all the baby boomers. So if you go look at like how much money you would get on your Social Security, my dad ran it for himself. He has about like 10 years left, but you know, he ran it for himself, and he would make like, I think $2,000 or $1,800 a month in Social Security, right?
Garbage.
So how the hell is he ever going to live? Like, so, but imagine how many people are in that boat where they're counting on that, and where can they live for $2,000 a month? I mean, they're going to have to either go on Section 8 and stay in California, or they're going to have to go, which I don't even know if they can, but, or they're going to have to go somewhere else. And now you can't even afford, you know, South Florida. Now, where are you going to have to go? Like, I don't know any, you know, more affordable places in Florida. You know what I mean? So
because even places like
lots of changes coming.
Even places like Orlando, Tampa are starting to go up in prices too. You know, and that's where usually everybody would go: Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, when they would leave Miami. And even you've seen those prices starting to go up.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's crazy? That you're talking about Social Security. I was talking to my uncle because he's about to retire, and he was telling me, I didn't know this, that half of your Social Security is still taxable. So half of that Social Security income is still federally taxed.
Oh my God!
I didn't even know that.
That's
man.
crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So then then you ask people why they feel that they don't trust the currency. They're putting their money in crypto. They're moving their money into other things because look what you just told me. That's Section 8 house. That's barely to afford Section 8 housing in California.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, really.
What is your
crazy.
take on that? On the crypto stuff?
I like it. I think there's not enough. Like, I'm like a real use case kind of guy. Like, I'll invest in something when I like have it benefits me in some way. Like, I understand that like all of this is just the beginning of like you know, the NFTs and Ethereum and the blockchain and all that kind of stuff. So it's still very, very early. I'm very excited to see what happens with the, you know, new projects that are going to be coming out where, you know, you can, you know, like buy an NFT to go to a Lakers game, or buy an NFT to, you know, do this, and then I get a collection or Rolodex of all my tickets. You know, like how, you know, growing up, we would take the tickets and put it on our wall or on a pin board because we went there one day. You know, like now it's kind of like you get to see like, damn, this guy went to 4,000 Lakers games and here's all the tickets. And, you know, there's old school ones from 2020 and it's, you know, 2050 or whatever. So I don't know. It could be cool. We're actually starting our own NFT or project as well. So we're actually going to start a tokenization fund.
Okay.
So we just 2 weeks ago got a lawyer involved who's done a bunch of blockchain projects. He's done like 14 successful tokenization projects. So we're going to start a fund. People will be able to buy tokens. And then those tokens will be used to go and buy real assets, real estate, and we'll rent those properties out, and then people will make tokens back as kind of cash flow. So it's going to help, you know, help people that have $50 invest in real estate where, you know, like I told you, Bryan, they can't come and buy a turnkey rental because they don't have 30 grand. But if you have $500, you can buy a $50 token and invest just the same, except we'll manage the entire portfolio and you get to buy a token, and the money will be sent back to that token, that wallet address every single month, just like it normally would.
Oh, I love that. That's kind of, and it's so interesting with crypto, because a lot of people are able to, because you don't have to go publicly traded. You're raising all this money privately. So you're kind of, in a way, not you, but a lot of people, we're circumventing, our generation is circumventing the public process, and we're raising capital behind the scenes privately, and they're essentially getting a share, correct me if I'm wrong, into your funds, right? Into your portfolio.
Correct, except we are going still with the SEC route. So we are filing a Reg D, and then we're later on in 6 months, we're going to file a Reg A. And then they would be buying shares of that entity, you're right. But could I go and do it privately and tell the SEC to screw off? Yeah. But like if the thing blows up and I raise like $20 to $40 million from, you know, people where I don't have KYCs or, you know your customers, and I don't know if they're accredited or not. I mean, I could be in jail for ever. So It is a gray area, but I'd rather err on the side of, hey, SEC, I'm raising $50 million. Here's a Reg D form. Just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So that's the path we're going around. That's what our lawyers advise us to do as well. Because, SEC is already cracking down on a lot of those projects where buy this monkey NFT and make a banana a day. It's like, that's a security. It doesn't matter if it's a banana or, anything else. It still is some sort of currency that's being traded back and forth. A lot of these projects, though, luckily are located outside of the U.S., so they can really do whatever the hell they want to. But sadly, I live here, so I have to follow.
I hear you, man. No, it's a really interesting world that we live in now because, and here's the other thing. There's so much attention in it right now that, you're constantly just seeing people going crazy at the same time and throwing all their money in there, stimulus check, everything that they have, just to be able to come back and say, hey, I invested. Let me take my shot at this and see if it works. But it's one of those things where, and I'm working on some projects with a buddy of mine that I'm helping him. But it's one of those things where I feel like, too, where on the art space, I feel like there's certain components that I feel like it's just an attention hype bubble right now. And you have to be careful. Because, there's, as much as there's some great things, there's some stuff where it's just like there's a lot of uncertainty. And if you don't have money that you're willing to lose, you shouldn't be investing. That's how I see it. If you don't have extra money you're willing to lose and you can lose, you shouldn't be investing. Because, it's one of those things where it can go both ways. And the same thing goes with now the whole metaverse stuff. And I was going to talk to you about that. What is your feel and thoughts about the whole digital real estate?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of like real estate guys like buying this stuff. And I really don't, I can go spend $100,000 and go create my own like the thing about Earth is that there's only so much space on Earth, right? So now I get to buy a sliver of Earth and that's my piece of Earth, right? Now, if I create a virtual world, it's like the whole solar system now that, if you zoom out, now you're looking at the whole solar system. I don't give a shit. Decentraland made a goddamn thing and people are buying land for $40,000. It doesn't matter. Facebook is going to come build their own world. Everybody's going to forget about goddamn Decentraland. That's what I don't understand about it. And there's Decentraland and there's like all these other worlds and stuff like that. And I'm like, Facebook has all the data. They have everything. They're going hard. They changed their name from Face. Yeah, they changed their goddamn name. They could build a new world in an hour and a half with the amount of developers that they have. Why? And then they're never going to sell the land or anything like that. It's just, again, it was just a hype thing to like raise money to continue going on their project because they were early. But sometimes the early adopters are not the ones that live this out. Because I got the VR goggles, right, for like for Christmas to test it out and see like what was going on. I can't even like go in there and go on a Decentraland thing or like I don't know. Facebook owns all the headsets. They're just going to create their own world within the headsets and it's game over. Everybody's going to forget about this whole Decentraland.
Done. And you'll start seeing how they control everything. They'll start controlling everything.
Yeah, they won.
Too.
Yeah, they won. And then it's already, I can put on the VR goggles. Your friend is online. I'm like, how did you know I have a friend? Oh, it's connected to your Facebook already.
Done. All right,
you have to log in with your Facebook.
So the question is, are you going to invest in the metaverse, in the meta of the Facebook, in that digital real estate? You're going to invest in that one or no?
Like just the stock, you mean, or what?
I guess in anything.
I would like to, but I just need to see how it's going to play out because I think Facebook is just going to come and destroy all these guys. I just don't see them getting. They have every piece of the puzzle. It's like they've been planning this. It's like they knew it was coming.
It's true.
Oh no, it's definitely true, and I would stay away from it, man. This is a huge speculation bubble. I actually think this might be one of the things.
You too. Okay.
Brian, what do you call this thing?
Look, I think some of these NFTs and I'm not saying all of them. They have utility, but I think some of them are going to be beanie babies. Some people are going to hold on to these things, and they're going to be holding on to these.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And some people are going to hate me in the comments for saying it, but it is what it is. If you're buying speculation, you're going to get burned eventually.
It's like the .com bubble.
Okay, good.
It's like the .com bubble.
Yeah.
Everybody went crazy investing all these different people stuff in the .com. And then what they realized was that the real money and growth is the actual internet platform itself, and that's why that .com bubble exploded. And I think it's the same thing with NFTs. I like the technology, but I don't think the art stuff. I think all this stuff is just a gimmick right now. That's gonna pop, and I'm not saying that the best projects with the really good art and the people that have good backings, they're gonna do well. But all this other stuff you see, that's going to blow up. What you're going to see really grow in the future is the tech behind the NFTs, when the smart contracts and, certifications and authorizing certain things. I think that's where, the technology is going to play a bigger game. That's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys agree with me then, because, I haven't been able to talk to many people about, that's just my thoughts. And I was, really close to buying it. I'm like, oh, wait, why? What? Why? Then I got the goggles, I put them on, log in with your Facebook. Eventually it's just going to scan my eyeballs. And it's there's no point. Unless they go buy Decentraland, but then they would never buy it. It's cheaper for them to just build their own. So I'm glad you guys agree with me. And I was really I really wanted to do my own NFT project and do something that had utility, was the right word, like you said. But we went down the tokenization path, which uses the blockchain, reduces the cost. People can now trade their tokens with each other, gift tokens. I mean, there's so many different things that they can do now with the tokens that we can't do. So it needed, out of this whole stuff, the whole metaverse, all the crypto stuff, it needed to have a better utility for me and my company as a business. So instead of writing promissory notes with every single investor, keeping track of all that kind of stuff, now I can just sign up with the platform that manages this whole blockchain fund. The blockchain does all the math and does everything like that for me, so that I don't have to go hire 3, 4, 5 bookkeepers to manage 1,000 investors. I have the blockchain handling all that kind of stuff. And the transaction cost is very, very minimal. So that's why we decided to go with the tokenization fund. And I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see what happens with it.
Oh no, that's definitely gonna blow up. That's unique. You're actually the first real estate person we've spoken to that actually talked about implementing crypto and decentralized currency into their business and how they're gonna set that structure up. So it's interesting. I really like that.
Yeah, you let us know when you do it, man. You definitely let us know.
Yeah, very, very close. Yeah, lawyers working on the docs right now, the PPM, and then we have a platform too already lined up. We're just working out the kinks. I mean, we'll be live soon, 60 days.
So how are you gonna plan? What are you doing to plan that push?
All right, so on my website, which has a ton of traffic, 500,000 people a day, we're just gonna put a link there. So instead of buy turnkey rentals, it's gonna say invest with us instead. And then it's going to be hey, we have these 3 of our own, buy turnkey rentals with us. Here's 3 houses, $100,000 each. We're raising $300,000 to buy these 3 houses. Here's the projected cash flow. Here's all this kind of stuff. And then people can just say, okay, buy tokens. They fill out a quick little form. They swipe their credit card and plug in their wallet address, and that's it.
Wow. Super cool. I love it, man. I love it. Brian, anything else?
Nothing, man. You answered everything. Dude. You got a thriving business.
No, this guy is, again, the Tom Brady, guys, the Tom Brady. No, man, I really want to say, thanks for sharing, you're giving us your time. Thanks for, dropping this for information. Thanks for, coming on here and really educating our audience and being able to, see the amazing things you're doing. And most importantly, the drive to want to succeed and what you've done for not only yourself, but also for your family and what you've created for them. And your friends, it's amazing, man. And I really believe that with this kind of information moving through podcasts, more information being out there, we could put other great leaders in this world who are doing similar things like you or other things in different spaces, but that have a relentless drive to want to win and change lives for themselves, for their families, for their loved ones. And I appreciate you for that, man. So thank you for coming on.
100%. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Totally. Where can people find you, man? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, best place would be on Instagram or TikTok. It's the same username, @MartelAntoine.
Love it. Love it. You guys heard it. Antoine, last and final question for you. What is the biggest piece of advice you would leave off to all our listeners today in one single sentence?
Biggest piece of advice. I would just say work your ass off. I think that there's a lot of people that just don't understand. Please just, when I said I called 200 people, I didn't say 20 and I didn't say 2. I said 200. I think that's just the biggest thing after going to all these meetups and meeting with so many people. Just if you want this, you're going to have to work your ass off, and you can go work a 9 to 5, or you can work 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you can choose what you want to do.
Plain and simple, guys. Work your ass off. 2022, baby. Put that motto in place. Antoine, I appreciate it. Guys, if you got value out of this podcast, we appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe, share, comment, give us feedback, drop a rating, review, because the more love you show us, the more love we can show back. Till next time on the Sweat It Out podcast.